As you can see here, I have the 6 card account already set up. For good luck, will we get it? Unfortunately no zeros, but many Chinese, well, it's a fun one. Alright, here we go then. We have 2 wins on this account as 5D, and our opponent has played the start point, so theoretically I could have played the mini Chinese, but they approached, so we're gonna have to change it up a little bit. Oh, okay, so I've actually just did a lecture on this double approach Joseki and its follow-ups. Now, since in this case white doesn't have any surrounding stones, I'm definitely going to diagonal and see what white does. Okay, so then I guess protecting makes the most sense right now, because the lower side is quite big, and this move reduces the value of white's high approach. Now, this move is a bit surprising though, because it's pretty much an armpit move. It's like playing right under my stone there. Hold on a sec. So if I push and cut now, what is white going to do? It's actually interesting timing that I push now, because if I haunt it on top, then the cut would no longer be an aji for me. And if I push now, white cannot play the empty triangle to try to threaten the connection. This seems like a very awkward result for white, because locally... Oh, should I cut now? I think this is one of the situations where it doesn't really make sense to get gote. Cutting is a very... it loses quite a lot of points, because I'm giving white the left side pretty much, right? After Itari, white pretty much has the entirety of that side. But the benefit is that I get sente. And after I get sente, I can play... I think I can even peep here. And now I have full control of the center fight, as well as cut off the corner. The corner right now is not killable, but there is a Hanen double Hane sequence. That sequence will turn the corner into a ko. This ko is not free for black. But it is a burden for white, and it's an option for black. Now, I was actually reading the center fight. There is a push over here. Now, this is actually quite an interesting weakness. So white can counter push, and this would fix that weakness in sente. But after that exchange, the whole group would be a lot weaker. Just realized that, yeah, my cutting move was actually quite bad, because it really made white too strong, and the only benefit that I received was this diagonal, which wasn't really that good. I think that's definitely a mistake though, because now we can push and cut. We got really lucky there because the opponent made a mistake. They still should have pushed first, even though it is a annoying exchange for white because it makes black a lot stronger. But it's a necessary move to keep the attack on this move, and this attack is going to be very bad for black. Black has very narrow direction, and white can simply just surround and also develop the left side. But now this is pretty straightforward. I actually don't even want to give white the outside because right now white has no co-threats. I can just Atari. I don't have to Atari under because that will allow white to capture one of my stones on the outside. So if black Atari's under instead of my move in the game, white would be dead in a connect and die, but white would be able to capture one of my stones on the outside. In this case, white has to find a co-threat, which is non-existent. And we've just pretty much took over this entire center, and as well as these three white stones on the outside are pretty much useless. White would get two moves, but that's not a big deal at all. Oh, this is interesting. I was tempted to answer, but it's not a good idea. I'll just finish the code. White got a sente, but locally in the lower right, white spent two moves, but locally here on the bottom, the result is just too good for black. So I think the rest of the game will be pretty easy. So I'm just going to take the top left. It's very big considering white's wall here. So I think all of the Joseki with the 3-3 invasion would be good for black. Notice how the ko in the lower left has actually become lighter for me. So here's a quick tip, I guess. When you're playing out this 3-3 invasion variation, you almost should never Hana and connect unless you completely control the other side. As you can see here, white spent now three extra moves in the corner, but those moves are very inefficient. It's quite a small area, and since black is just jumping out on the outside, black is much better off. First of all, the local shape is pretty strong, so there's not really a good way for white to attack black. But look at this top left corner. It's only 5 points, which is pretty ridiculous considering how many moves white spent in this area. Isn't there a push and cut here? Yeah, so this is even worse for white now because the middle is being cut off. Maybe I didn't have to do this immediately, but it felt like a pretty good move. I think I should probably push and turn. The connection's a little bit better in that case. Yeah, I mean, right now we have a fight in the middle, but look at the white's left side. There's 5 points in the top left, and there's about 6 points here on the left side. So total only 11 points, but black has completely broke through, and this is pretty much an even fight right now. and we're going to play in the middle of a lot of black-controlled space. So white would need to jump out now, and pretty much the rest of the board, black would be able to develop much better compared to white. So the proper move for white now is to jump out, and then I'm considering jumping on top. It kind of feels like maybe a slow move, but I think it's worth it. That's interesting. White extends out here. This is also not the correct direction because this corner is already alive and the center is more important. So now I can press onto this group a little bit to gain extra forcing moves. These stones that black gains will help attack the center, but the extra white moves are only making very small points. And I think black can come back here to block to still seal off the upper side. So at this point, white's center is now a very big focus point. White has to settle it enough that it doesn't get captured. And well, because white can't let black develop too much, for example, in upper right. And even territory-wise, like on the bottom, I have like 25 points. Which is pretty much enough to balance out the rest of white's territory, almost. So I'm not really worried about the fight that much. White's actually being very aggressive here, which is interesting. Oh, wow, that white definitely needed to cut there. I was still reading out what would happen in the middle before white just retreated. Now, this is not an acceptable variation for white at all. The outside is way too strong now. This whole group is like, it's completely weak. I'm going to play some exchanges to get rid of the eye space and then cap. It's such a comfortable attack at this point. The black group is really strong now, so I'm not really afraid of white coming in between my stones. But also you can see if white goes onto the bottom or to the lower right, there's not a comfortable escape. What is white doing here? The wedge didn't really make sense. It's just I think a misread here. Yeah, so right now I captured these two stones as well, which makes this group have 0 eyes. And now it's just a very comfortable attack still. Yeah. So I will keep pressuring white. I really need to get Sente though, because connecting here is an extremely big move. It's an very interesting situation because actually no one has the opportunity to play it yet, because this fight here in the middle is too urgent. None of us have the chance to play away. But I think this cut is probably the losing move now. Because after the wedge and connect, there's clearly two weaknesses that white can't simultaneously protect. And if white connects on the left, then the cut will... It pretty much kills something, right? White could either save those two stones or the dragon. Yeah, this cut is just too much. There's no point in trying to save both now. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be a very straightforward result. I can pull out, but I think the Atari sequence is clearer. If white connects, black can just jump. Actually, I can hane first, and then jump back. It's a very stable connection. And then there's really nowhere to run the other way, so... The dragon's pretty much dead at this point. I guess this game is a very good example of what not to do when you're in the middle of a fight. These types of overplays don't actually benefit that much if you think about it, right? Black could still connect those two stones back on the third line, and they haven't really gained that much yet. Only a few points here, and maybe those points if you have the chance to capture them. A lot of conditionals, and when the middle is so weak, you just don't really want to commit to something like that. You want to protect the center so that when you do make something on there, you can actually continue playing to actually secure that value. And of course, it's that misread here. I had a very big weakness, but my opponent didn't take advantage of it. It would have been a very close fight if they did. So that push, that reading mistake was pretty devastating for this game. So I might as well just cut off the end here. I'm actually considering the tiger's mouth as well. The tiger's mouth and then an Atari. Yeah, might as well just cut this off. Secure the value first. It's a very big gain, and we'll see what white would try to do on the top. It doesn't seem like white can do anything else other than escape. So it's still a very comfortable fight, even though even after capturing this middle part. I think this is just a clear variation, right? There's nothing white can really do. I think I kind of want this Sente. I wanted the descend, but I feel like if I connect first and then descend, white would not really answer. So I think I want this Sente to force white to capture. And then I can just play the tiger's mouth and keep threatening the center. I need the tiger's mouth though, because I don't want white to extend in Sente. This guarantees my direction. This is actually quite a long game. I haven't had these longer style games for some time now. I really want to get the ladder. So this is an interesting shape. Black actually can't cut. Maybe my opponent saw that already. I actually can't cut because white has a way to capture my stone using my weakness in the middle here. But it's not a big deal because if white can't Atari, this just dies for sure. There's no doubt about this. So this is also just game over. I mean, yeah, the capture is pretty big, but losing this middle, I don't have to care about that. I actually quite like some of white's decisions. They were actually quite good because here white really needs to try these more aggressive moves, and that was the trickiest move at that point. So these moves actually made quite a lot of sense. But yeah, right now, after it didn't work, that was the game though. I guess I could just turn here. Really didn't need to play a move like the attachment. The center fight was extremely interesting, and if you're interested, or if you're a relatively fighting style player, I would definitely recommend going back to revisit the center fight and go over the moves, see if they make sense, and also see if you would have chosen the same moves as I did. Yeah, because these types of fights are very hard to control. Even though a lot of the time it might look like it's really bad for the opponent, but controlling the game is a totally different skill. And with that, I think I will pretty much turn off this game, and I will just fast forward to the end. And we are back. Time to roll the next opening. So we get... Aha! Definitely the new Kobayashi. I've been getting 36 point quite a lot. 10 wins, actually, at 5D. That's not bad. Before I know it, we might skip to 7. So we'll see. Being one of the accounts that I'm most nervous about, I think it's a good thing that we're getting a lot of these, because you guys get to see in advance how this would turn out. So in terms of efficiency, white's really not that good, because the corner efficiency is actually quite low. So Yeah, I only play double 4-6. Oh, that the diagonal is actually quite a slow move now. Which, of course, I can Tanuki. You'll probably see how the more we play on this account, the openings are going to be very messy. What is this attachment? I've never seen that before. Is that a working move or something? Whoa, attach and connect. Very interesting. Huh. This opponent really likes. Oh, I was gonna say they really like corners, but this diagonal allows me to take the corner back. A very much helping move for me, actually. After we get such a good game, we're back to the standard blitzing opponents. See how well we can deal with this. Uh, not making very good shape so far. Huh. I really want to connect back though, because I can still attack this other group. Maybe I should have exchanged the extension move first, so that I'm in so I guess that would be less of a struggle shape-wise. Yeah, my two stones here are pretty much useless, but after connecting back under, black can easily attack the whole white group. So this is actually quite a bad exchange for white, because there was a cutting aji, and now that's gone. But now white would cut here, and I'm going to have to turn. Yep, as you can see, very, very uncomfortable shape. But the good thing is, white does have to choose to protect one side or the other. So then after that, I can still, hopefully, fix my shape back. Yep, so that's what happens when you blitz. You kind of make a lot of bad assumptions. Like, yeah, black obviously doesn't have to save those two stones. So really, after that one move, white is in a very bad situation. So that was actually quite a bad trade for white. This whole group died. And I'll just let white take the attachment, I think. I'm okay with giving up the corner right now. Black has development on both sides, so I think that should be okay. I feel like my opponent's just being very desperate right now. I don't really know what they're trying to do here. It's going to be a very fast game for sure. Because after this lower left, the game is pretty much over. I can also get a descent here in Sente. And at this point, white is just going to help me gather my territories. Okay, they're just having a good time here. They're just having a good time. Okay, so another fight has subsided, and here we go. We've won the game. So yeah, this game I don't think really there's much to talk about. Just remember not to diagonal. Make sure you play the correct Joseki. I know it's like a very rare one. People barely know this, but the proper move is to descend and then block jumps and then knight's move. You don't really want to give your opponent so many forcing moves to go about. So, alrighty. So let's get another game. N7. Alright, so high now. I should definitely have a poll to see which of these accounts we're going to leave to the end, because I think for this season it's the complete opposite, because before I had so many like Kobayashi openings, and I had so many what's the other one that I had the most? Actually, I think I've always had quite a bit. Yeah, let me know in the comments which account do you think will be the final one for Season 2. So Season 2 will probably be 7 Dan. We'll see how long it takes for these accounts to get up to 7. So this is interesting. My opponent just played a side splitting move and then a extension. It's probably not a good idea. Just because these two stones are much lower value than my 2 stones, and I was able to take 3 corners to begin with. So, pretty happy with the opening. Definitely can be satisfied here. You know what this reminds me of? That you should never forget your principles when you are facing moves that you don't really see. Like here, white is just forgetting everything about the opening, pretty much. Like these 2 moves are very much against opening strategies. And so at the end, white's going to be much worse off here. So no matter what you do, you can't forget about these really, really basic Go strategies, like these opening strategies that we learn. If you do, it's pretty. You'll definitely fall behind. There's just no doubt about it. I'm a little bit out of things to do, actually. Maybe I'll just do a very casual extension here. I don't really think there's any need to start any fights. So we'll see what my opponent does, because they're the ones that need to start the fights now. I don't need to start any fights. White took maybe 8 points on the sides for my 15 points value corner. So there's no reason for me to rush for anything. Ooh, sudden aggressive type, I see. Okay, let's see what they can come up here. Direct attachment. That actually gave me a choice, but I think probably still want to honey this way. Oh. This is a valid invasion in most cases when there is this 3-space extension. But considering the fact that black had so many stones to begin with, I didn't really think twice before making my decisions. Of course, I have to go with the standard, more aggressive move. I think that's definitely a given. So here white can Atari pull back and then knight's move, or maybe clamp. But I think in all of these variations, black shouldn't really have anything to worry about. Even if white lives, I can't just regard the whole lower side as my own territory. I think that's going to be unreasonable. I need a Tsuji here probably. Should I block? I don't really want to block. But pushing out feels kind of dull. So I'm trying to come up with something more creative. But since we don't have the ladder, I guess we can't really be too creative here. So we'll just push out and see what white does. Eventually, the capturing race, black would have a very distinct advantage. So now white has to fix the 3 stones, and I should be able to just block and capture the bottom after that. Actually, you know what I want to do? I want to jump down here. I really didn't want to exchange the Atari, but I guess that's necessary. I don't really need to worry too much about the center now because white is completely dead already, either in the corner or on the side. And white is still spending more moves here, which I don't think really makes sense. So I'll just take it, I guess. If my opponent wants to give it to me, then of course I'll just take it. Block or connect? I hate these like similar but could make a difference moves. I guess I'll just connect. Oh, I definitely should have blocked. Ah, oh, dang. That's why I hate these decisions. I always make the wrong one. Yeah, I definitely shouldn't have connected. The connection didn't threaten anything. It's a terrible move. Now I have to worry about this capturing race. Oh, that's so annoying. I should have just blocked because I could have just clamped and just taken the whole lower side. I was definitely a little bit too optimistic about this fight in general, especially that connection move. If that was the clamp, I would have no issues here with the capturing race. But now things are a little bit different. White's turn here is actually very bad. It's a self-liberty reduction move because white should have played 1 under. That would have guaranteed the liberties for the lower side. But now I think after that exchange, the group already has way less liberties. guess I will just push so that white doesn't have this eye. Capturing is no problem, but I still want to pick the variation that would give white the least number of forcing moves here to first guarantee the most territory as possible here on the bottom, but also it matters quite a lot because if white can get all of forcing moves, there would be a difference in co-threads as well as white's points. Yeah, but this is very, very clear. Now that's definitely a gote move. There's no reason for me to respond to that one. Is capturing sente? Actually, capturing is still gote, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, capturing is also gote. That's very interesting. Well, it could have been a maybe acceptable result for white because white has gained all of this, but now it's just a terrible result because white spent 3 moves just to get this, because first white spent 1 move in gote, then I got the attached pullback, and then I got another move there. So white really needs to work on their reading skills. Okay, well, this is a very good example of why reading is extremely important, of course, right? White spent so many moves here because they thought that it would have been sente, or maybe they just felt like they didn't need to even look that it must be sente anyway. And you really have to be really on top of this kind of thing. Yeah, this is basically, yeah, white spent 3 moves to gain a few endgame points, but black just got all of these extra opening moves. No, just connect. There's no reason for me to start any fights. And in addition to the opening advantages, I feel like black has at least a 20 to 30 point lead right now. So this is also a very clear alive variation. Unless white is going to play in the middle right now, which would complicate things a little bit. I'm going to cut first to gain some sente moves. Might as well turn, because it's also a good sente move. It forces my opponent to play this move right here. Oh, wow. So that was not a bad move. This can turn out into a very interesting fight, actually. Oh. White did have a chance there. It's a very complicated center, but this move is pretty much saying, I give up, which is not really what I'd like to see. So, yeah, after this, black is completely alive, which means that's it, right? It's done. I'm also tempted to connect. Oh, there's no need. There's no need. What's the point of aggression right now? Yeah, the left side is already alive, and in terms of overall points on the board, it's completely better for black. This is also a relatively straightforward life and death. White Haning is a Gote endgame only. So white can throw in, but that's Gote. I didn't expect my opponent to actually capture those, though. Yep, goal. I guess this is another skip time, because... Well, maybe we don't have to skip, because we can attack this group first. If white haunted, I guess that's still alive, because white can play a move there. Yep, so this opponent really lacked reading skills, I think. There was first that really relatively straightforward capturing race. And then there was also, yeah, the left side and this left side reading. Yeah, but I think right now the result is extremely clear. White still needs to protect the cutting point here on the left, and the outside is also surrounded. I think we'll just protect like this. I think that for a lot of these situations that look kind of complicated, if you're able to see very clearly right away what that end result is, then you have definitely you're definitely a better player than the opponent, and that could really get you quite far. If you look at this, for example, and it takes you a long time, or even after you take some time and you're not sure, then that's actually quite an important skill to work on. It's really synthesizing like different parts of the variations. Like here there's whites push and cut. You have to make sure that that does not work. You can't just simply capture black, and then we also have, you know, those potential ways of making eyes. But they're really just small, sparse things that you have to read. It's a little different from when you're reading out a one-way big variation. This is more like connecting all the small dots into a bigger conclusion. So with that, I think this is it. Without any surprises, my opponent will probably run out of time, and we will claim this victory, and we'll roll the next opening. Just make sure you're not splitting the side before taking the corners. Or playing Gote Death moves. Either of those things. Okay, now, what are we going to start off for next episode? We are starting on 6. Okay, we're doing a countdown. So, in the next episode, we're going to start with the 3-3-5 opening. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. I would appreciate it if you can give it a like, leave a comment, and considering subscribing to our channel, and also checking out our membership videos. That's it for today, and I will catch you in the next episode.